Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, Van Azel back with another Cardfight Vanguard deck profile, so pick a joy to come subscribe and story. This time we're covering DZ set 1 for Brandt, and that is the Fated Welstra of the Blitz Arms. All around, this deck is really fun because it's pretty much the upgrade Welstra wanted. Now Welstra no longer requires another unit to help set up his order zone. Now he can do it on his own, and not to mention still operate. And we have a cool new set order that I have even yet to use because I have not needed to use it so far, but as we have seen in the most recent anime episode that very much dates this video for you, we see of how that order works, and it's just a very fun card to use. So let's go ahead and get the start, shall we, see what we got, because honestly, I love this deck. I am so glad Welstra got the support he needed, and let's go. Taizo finally got a win in the anime. I don't care if it wasn't in well dress. He did it. I believed in him. So first up, we have our energy generator. So every deck has this now because it's a requirement, because energy is a new resource that we have. It's a ride deck crest. You might have a ride deck crest in your ride deck. Auto ride deck, when you would ride, put this card into your crest zone, and if you win second, energy charge 3. Continuous, you have to 10 energies. Auto at the beginning of your ride phase, energy charge 3, and then act once per turn by energy blasting 7, you draw a card. All around, pretty solid, you know, like guaranteed every turn you're gonna have 3 energy. And with the way Welstra plays, thanks to our new set order, you will always have so much extra energy to use that you can use the 7 to draw a card, or you could get to 7 to use it to draw a card, or if you just choose not to, for the record, you can just use it to what's it called? You can just use the energy on Welstra skill, but I suggest just not doing that because we also have a grade 1 that allows us to energy charge consistently. So pretty much what I'm saying is, use the energy on the free draw because this is probably one of the most consistent decks that can actually afford to do that with it. So yeah, it's nice to have. It's an extra resource, and this deck pretty much uses that resource really well. Then move on to our deck. So first up, we have our starter, and that is Blitz Chief Mechanic Volton. Grade 0 boost, Shield Escape Base, Auto Rotoponic second draw card, standard start. I really love seeing Volton like getting an upgrade. Like I really love the idea of the Blitz line getting the upgrade simply because that means they got promotion in the industry, and it just looks so cool. Like I loved seeing Volton step up, and I was so happy when I saw it in the demo deck, and I had no idea that Welstra was actually going to use the same starter. So Volton's all around pretty solid. You can really run any starter because none of the ride line requires Volton, but come on, look at him. He's such a cute dragon. He has like a power drill, and he has like that little thing, and he's like commanding people. He's delegating. He's just really cool, and I love Volton, and I think he's great. So one of them in the ride deck. Then we have our triggers for run over trigger in Star Dragon Deed of Infinitude, Elbow Breath. Everyone that has ever played against Brandt, specifically Gravidia, has seen this before and probably has PTSD from it. So grade 0, 50 shield, a base, 50 grade 0 boost, 50 shield, 5k power, over trigger, move over trigger in your deck. When you vote as a trigger, move that card, draw a card, choose one of your units. Choose one of your units. It gets plus 1 move for the turn, and reveal the during draft check, activate its additional effect, which you get to double the power and critical of all your former units until end of the turn. Increase the double in power critical when activated. So in your deck, that won't do much in terms of power because the deck doesn't get a lot of power on its own unless it's Welstra, but it typically doesn't get a lot of power on its own, meaning most of your things at most would go into like 46, 40, or like high 40 ranges without triggers, but it does double their entire critical, and if you don't know what Welstra does, typically you bring your opponents into the negatives. So well, yes, your power is not out the wazoo. Your opponent's power going into the negatives combined with your power going up at least a little bit definitely goes to prove the point they're probably not guarding, or they will have one hell of a time trying to guard this. Basically what I'm saying is this: if you pull Elbow Breath in your drive check and you're on any of your grade 3 turns, your opponent is in for one hell of a ride. So one of Elbow Breath in the deck is just a nice card to have. You can have Walnut for more restand, or it's for more consistency, but no, Elbow Breath, just pick the Elbow Breath. It's so much nice for pressure, and if you pull it, your opponent will struggle because this deck can consistently get 4 attacks a turn. So yeah, that's fun. Then move on to our normal triggers. First up, we run a total of 7 crit, 3 copies of Blitz Yakudo, grade 0 boost, 15k shield, 5k power. You can really make this any trigger you want. I just chose to make it a Blitz card because, you know, the entire deck theme is Blitz, so might as well go for it. And then we have 4 copies of Patrol Robo Decker Cop, so grade 0 boost, 15k shield, 4k power, critical trigger, auto rear guard, the amount about to boost it. Put the unit to soul, choose one of your units, gets plus 2k for the turn. The deck does want soul, because if you are on, or if you have if you have Freiheit on board, you will need soul consistently. So Decker Cop being able to go to soul and increase your numbers ever so slightly more is helpful, especially because you're constantly putting your opponent into the negatives, and that does make numbers weird. So, you know, if you are sending stuff to soul to be able to play Freiheit more consistently, even if you're just giving 2k, that 2k might make a difference depending on the numbers set up by your orders. So remember that, and it's also nice to have just 7 crits of pressure out a negative powered Vanguard. So yeah, again, Yakudo can be be whoever you want, but I do recommend Decker Cop to manage the soul issue that Fright Height brings and solely manages the entirety of. So 7 crits, and then we run 4 draws in Armalite Connector, grade 0 boost, 5k shield, 4k power. Draw trigger continues guard, so opponent's vanguards are grade 3 or greater, 5k shield, 10k shield. That I have is also a draw trigger, so helps increase the hand. You can run front triggers if you want to bully your opponent's negative power vanguard more with numbers, but you don't need to. So I like to run the extra draws to help increase the hand and make sure I can do my plays much more consistently. Also because pulling this in damage checks and drive checks, I don't know why, feels so satisfying. So 4 Armalite Connector, very solid draw trigger, and just a personal thing I have with Armalite Connector. When I need to draw a PG, I tend to draw it off of Connector's draw trigger skills. So yeah, 4 of Armalite Connector. Very reliable draw trigger, at least for me. And it's a 10k shield after both players get to grade 3, or at least after the opponent gets to grade 3. Then we have our 4 heals in Blitz Dr. Gensun, whatever. Grade 0 boost, 15k shield, 5k power. Standard heal and Dust Blast on an effect heal. If you want to run the counter heals, go ahead, but I prefer the consistent 15k shield over the fluctuating 10 to 25. It also is just a cute raccoon, and it's a part of the Blitz industry. Who would not want to run this as their healer trigger? Come on, even Tiles runs as his heal trigger. Yes, it's also a Blitz line, so maybe that's why, but my point stands. We're running this as their heal, and I will fight you on that. So, cool. We have our, 7 crits with the 4 draws and 4 heals. And move on to our grade 1s. First, run 3 copies of our promo order, and that is Mobile Kennel Iron Garden. So, I do love how it casually says Iron Garden, and if you don't know what that means, is Welstra, or at least his first set of orders, or his first few sets of cards, such as Swartz and Freisuits, they were based off of a German naming theme. And for those of you that don't know what Ein means 1 in German. This is the only other time this is referenced in the entirety of the deck profile, at least to my knowledge, because I don't remember any of these other cards having a German name theming, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So anyways, grade 1, or outside of the ride line at least. Anyways, grade 1, set order after set orders, put into your order zone. Auto when is put from your hand or order zone into your drop zone during your turn, put this card into your order zone or soul. So no matter how many times it's dropped from hand or order zone, as long as it's going to the drop zone, it will automatically either go to order zone or soul. So if you are having soul problems because of Fright Height, send it to soul. If you are having order zone problems because you didn't see any of your other orders, or it's early in the game you want setup, send it to order zone. And this is literally the best ride deck fodder in the deck, because the second you discard it and you ride, it will automatically go to the order zone. So good card. And then operate auto order zone. When this card is operated, call this card to rear guard as a 10,000 power 1 critical normal unit with boost to an open rear guard circle, and put that unit into the order zone at the end of the turn. So cool. It can go to soul possibly if you needed to for soul charging. It can go to rear guard as a booster with just a dog holding a gun tank on its back, and it's just all around a very fun card, and it works really well as a ride deck fodder, and it's just free in all of its skills. Easiest 3 I've ever seen in my life. Like I said, rear guard, soul, order zone, it does the whole thing. 3 of. Then move on to 4 copies of our grade 1 who makes energy so consistent in this deck, and that is Blitz Customer Support Crude. So I did complain about the Unparalleled and Reziel's respective grade 1s that give a different resource, about how I feel like they should have been reversed. Crude, I feel like, fits in well with Welstra, because Welstra doesn't need her, but it means you can now use the energy generator so much more consistently, which is something I love. So anyways, Crude is a grade 1 with boost and 5k shield and 8k base. Like the other ones, she is a continuous rear guard. During the battle that she boosted, you have a grade 3 grade vanguard with the respective main grade 3's card name. In this case, it's Welstra. She gets plus 5,000 power, so guaranteed 13k booster no matter what she's boosting. And then auto rear guard, when she boosts a grade 3 or greater vanguard with Welstra and its card name, energy charge 1. Now, by energy charging 1, that doesn't sound like a lot, but considering that means you are getting 4 energy charges that entire turn, 3 at the start of it, 1 from her, and maybe another 3 from your satellite cannon, she just for the record, that's 7, meaning you can use the energy generator skill next turn to get a free draw if you so wish, because you will automatically jump to 10 at the start of the next turn. Crudy is just a very good grade 1. She sets up your energy zone. She is a 13k booster the second you hit grade 3, regardless of who she's boosting. She's just an amazing grade 1, and I've never called her behind Vanguard Circle, simply because I always hope the Vanguard Circle slot later, because I like to call my rear guard columns first in this deck. And even though I have energy charge with her, the deck never runs into an energy problem. She is a very solid grade 1. I love her skill. I think she's amazing. Easiest 4 I've ever seen. She just sets up so much, and also I love these boots that we can casually see on her camera. I don't know why I love them. I just think they're just really cool. Then we have 4 copies of Blitz Assistant Soritan, so grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear guard. When a grade 2 or greater product card is put into your order zone, whether it's during your main phase, your battle phase, your end phase, put this card to soul, counter charge 1. All around pretty solid. It's like Bulb Mine, but it fits the theme of the deck a little bit more because it can work during the main phase or end phase or pretty much anywhere but the battle phase. It can still work during the battle phase, but still. But being able to send itself to Soul, and again, help with the Soul problem that Freiheit brings and is the sole responsibility of, and then being able to countercharge on top of that is pretty solid. So Sword Reten's just a very good grade 1. I do like having it around. If you want to play Bulb Mine because you feel like you can't get Sword Reten's timing right, because I feel like I mess up on the timing sometimes, then definitely run Bulb Mine, but I choose to run Sword Reten because A, again, Blitz theme, but B, it does have more range than Bulb Mine has. So 4 of Sword Reten, just a very good grade 1 to have. Then we have 4 copies of our PG in Planet Wall Dragon, grade 1 boost, 0 shows, K base, contains Sentinel. You may have to force Sentinel as a deck on the spawn a guard circle. Choose one of your units that cannot be hit to the battle if your hand has 2 or more cards in it. Choose a card from your hand discarded, standard PG. Nothing too special about it. Basically means that this and one of the cards in your hand will pissed on guard circle. You don't have to discard, which is great, because that means you be as aggressive in the early game. And one of my favorite early game plays is to play both of these two to force out either a guard on the opponent's side or force them to aggro me back. So when they're forced to do that, when I get to grade 3, they are losing their rear guards that they aggroed back with. And since they're already going to either the negatives or close to the negatives, they can't really afford to guard much because they played too aggressive in the early game to make sure they didn't fall behind too much. So when your opponent eventually counterattacks you back for that, or if you're in the late game and your opponent's hitting you with everything they got, you can just throw this down, not have to discard one, which will be great because that means you can save yourself on defensive options, and it can be really helpful in very specific situations. So 4th Planet Wall Dragon, just a very solid PG to have. You can run Violate Dragon or the new PG because both of them work for this deck, or because they both have the same skill, but I prefer Planet Wall Dragon because it came out close to the time of Welstra's release, so 4 of. Then we have last grade 1, run of in the right deck, none of the main deck, of Blitz Best Programmer Stronzer. Grade 1 boost 5k shield, aka Beza, auto rolled upon by Blitz Head Researcher Uber. Soul Blast 1 is soul, search your deck for up to 1 product card with a grade less than or equal to your opponent's Vanguard. Reveal it, put it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. So all around, pretty solid. It can search the deck for any order. Granted, it has to be to the Vanguard's name, so, or grade. So, if you went first, that means your only target will be Iron Garden, sadly. But if you went second, you have options of, well, you don't have options. You have either Lubetzel. So pretty much the situation is either you get Lubetzel or you get Iron Guard. Either way, though, you get some good set order, and it's only for the cost of a Soul Blast. If you think that Soul Blast is going to F you later, again, regardless of what grade they are, you pick up to a card with less than or equal to grade, meaning Iron Guard is a possibility regardless. So, either way, good option. Just a very nice card to have to help set up orders, and I think his art is cool. So one in the red deck, none in the main deck. Then move on to our grade 2s. First up, of course, we have our grade 2 order, the only grade 2 order in the deck, and that is Assault, Flight, Carrier, Lubetzel. Grade 2 set order after set order is play, put into order zone. Auto when put into the order zone. If you have a Vanguard Blitz in his card name, draw a card and soul charge one. This entire deck, except for the triggers and Planet Wall Dragon, have Blitz in their card name, meaning the second you place this on any of your Vanguards, free draw and a soul charge, which is great because it does help handle Freiheit over here, but then, like we keep mentioning, but also gets you hand cards for free, which is nice. And then operate auto order zone. When this card is operated, if it's your main phase, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You have to 1 card, unit card from among them with grade less than equal to your Vanguard, call it to rear guard, shuffle your deck. And if it's your battle phase, you get to draw a card. So sadly, this deck can no longer operate during the main phase, or I don't think it can. Yeah, it can no longer operate during the main phase outside of Welstra skill. So sadly, you will never be able to look at the top 5 skill except when you use Welstra, and typically you're going to use Maximum with Welstra. But during the battle phase, you get a free draw, which is very helpful with the grade 2 of the ride line, or like anything on grade 2 turn. So you get more hand cards set up for it. And if you can't use it during the main phase, the one time you can during the entirety of the game, you do get a rear guard out of it. So 3 Lubetzel, very solid order. It gets you a free draw and soul charge, and you can just constantly place it down whenever you need it to. And not to mention the fact, again, it checks the top 5 for rear guard. Most of the time, you're only going to get a draw out of it, which is still a pretty solid card if you choose to operate it. 3 Lubetzel, just a very good set order. Then we have 3 copies of this very good grade 2, who you can go back and forth of having 4 of her and 3 of Freiheit if you want to, and that is Blitz Operator Tortoise. So grade 2 and set 5k shield, 10k base. Continues rear guard circle during your turn. If you have an order zone, if your order zone has a product card, she gets 5,000 power. I remember the day she was revealed, I saw everyone call her mid. She is anything but mid, because unlike every other single card in Welstra that gets power, this thing does not require anything else but the deck's main gimmick, and that is products. Because even this grade 1 right here doesn't go off till you get to grade 3. This grade 2 goes off the second you get to grade 2. Here's why. Or she can even go up before you get to grade 2, technically. If you found, she goes off the second she gets on board. Here's why. Stronzer automatically guarantees you either have this or this in your order zone. And she only needs to have a product card in order zone to get the 5k. So regardless if you're a grade 3 or not, she's an automatic 15k, which is nice to have. And then auto rear guard, when she attacks a Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard with Welstra that's card name with Divine Skill, card boss want to choose a product card from your order zone and operate it. All around pretty solid. It doesn't eat away at the soul as much as Freiheit does. It's another battle phase operator, and it's just all around a very good solid card to have. If you want to run Taurus F4, like I said, compared to Freiheit, because Freiheit is no longer really needed for searching aspects out in terms of orders outside of Persona rides, and again, his soul does eat up the deck. You can choose to take him down instead, but I choose to keep him up here simply because if we put Taurus up more, we have more CB takers in the deck, and while yes, Freiheit does take up CB too, you almost never use his ability now, so he's really only a soul blaster, but yeah, take that as you will. I like to have the 3 of Taurus. She's nice if you want to run her at 4 because she does have more numbers and she makes the operates more consistent. You can, but I do prefer Freiheit at the 4 just because he can search if you need him to, but also his Soul Blast technically makes the deck's CB cost a whole lot cheaper. So 3 of Taurus, and then we have 4 of Freiheit, who we've been talking about this entire video so far. Operate Master Freiheit, Great Gen set 5k shield, 10k base, auto when it's placed on rear guard circle. If your order zone has a set order in it, by counterblasting one and discarding one, shuffle your deck up to one card with the same card name as your Vanguard, or up to one product card, reveal it, put it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. And then if you have a Vanguard with Welstra and its card name, shuffle to one product card from your hand and put into your order zone. So, search, if you're on Welstra, search maximum, set maximum, and suddenly you have the ability to play maximum, because it just places it into the order zone. Or, you search your deck for this, and you get a free energy charge 3 and a draw card and just set up for next turn. Or you search for Persona Ride. Or you search for Lubitzel to get more draws and soul charge. You see the point here. He gives options. And then auto rear guard when this two attacks into the Vanguard. If you have a Vanguard Welstra and its card name, by the way, they can be at grade 2 for this and it'll still proc off. Soul Blast 2, choose a product card in your order zone and operate it. If you set this up right, you can have 2 of these go off in a turn, plus Welstra, and if you use Welstra's Divine Skill that turn, and use his on attack skill that turn, that's a total of 4 operates. This times 4 is minus 20. They will be at -7. If one of your operates was with Uranith, or however the hell you pronounce this card's name, they will be at -12. And if you use 2 of them on it, they will be at -17. If you use 3 of them on it, they will be at -22. Freiheit is a very good grade 2 and is a very good support card you have in the deck. He's really solid, and I think he's just a good grade 2. So 4 of. Just good, and if you want, again, you want to run Taurus because it makes the product spam more consistent, you can run her at 4 of and put him down to 3 of. But the Soul Blast, while yes, hefty, it does manage the CB problem a little bit better, so 4 of him. So take that as you will. Then we move on to our last grade 2 of the deck, one of them in the ride deck, none in the main deck, of Blitz Head Researcher Uba. I do love his art. I don't know why. He looks like Fenrir, but a little bit more insane. Great turn, 5k shield, 10k base, auto Vanguard circle. When this unit attacks into a Vanguard by energy blasting 3, choose a product card in your order zone and operate it. It felt weird at first seeing this card take up 3 energy to use, but then when you think about it more consistently, this is actually a good thing because, again, this casually makes it free, and you're probably going to get this on your first grade 3 turn either out of Stronzer or either from Blitz Arms. So, yeah, you don't really need to worry about the energy blast in this deck. Anyways, getting a free order operate is a pretty solid thing to have, and then auto when it's rolled upon by Unit Welstra and its card name with Divine Skill, if your order zone has a product card in it, you get to Soul Blast 1 and discard 1. Search back for 2 product cards with different card names from each other and other cards in your order zone. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your deck. You may search 1 if you want to as well. So basically, if you don't want to search 2 and you just want to search 1, you can just get 1. But cool. Stronzer will guarantee to get you one of these 2, and then you just use his skill to search out these 2, and then suddenly you have the entirety of your attack force the second you hit grade 3. This is how you upgrade a ride line. It literally just made the deck so much more consistent. Like, the ride line no longer needs to be supported by units, meaning now the units can focus, instead of having more things that are like Freiheit that searches, we can have more product operators or more cost efficienators. It's just, the deck works so much better now. Thanks to, like, this is how you upgrade a ride line. This is genuinely how you upgrade a ride line. So one of Uber in the ride deck, none of the main deck. The Energy Blast 3 at first looked hefty, but now when you play the deck, it's not really hefty at all, and it basically is no CB, no Soul Blast, free operate of an order, because that's just how the deck works, and then it gets you set up basically for your grade 3 turn. So one of them in the ride deck, none in the main deck. Then we have our 2 orders, and we have our grade 3s. So we're at 3 copies of Extreme Satellite Weaponry Uranate, or Uranathe. So grade 3, set order, after set orders play, put it to your order zone, auto when it's put into your order zone. If you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard Welstra and its card name, regardless if it's the OG or if it's the new one, draw a card, energy charge 3. So pretty much do the energy blast skill of the generator, but instead of energy blasting 7, you energy charge 3 on top of that. Cool. And then operate auto order zone. When this card is operated during your battle phase by the ability of Vanguard Welstra with his divine and his card name with divine skill. So it has to be specifically the Welstra that operates this. If this card was not put into your order zone this turn, okay, so now that, remember that play I said earlier that I could bring them down to negative 22? Yeah, you can't, because that implied you did 3 of them with Freiheit, but, or 2 of them with Freiheit, so, because it has to be the Vanguard, you can't do that, but, you could technically bring them down to negative 17, that is possible, but anyways, being able to, if this card was not put into your order zone during this turn, so you'd have to wait a turn after playing it, choose an opponent's rear guard, kill it, choose one of your opponent's vanguards until end of turn, it gets minus 10,000 power, and if your opponent's damage on has 4 less cards in it, deal 1 damage to your opponent. All around pretty solid because guaranteed leave the turn's place. It's a free 3 energies and you get a draw card. Then this turn you operate it. Again, it has to be the turn afterwards at least. You get to bring your opponent down by 10k, so basically double maximum. You still kill a rear guard and you can possibly do a bop damage, possibly leading to game. All around, Earthenate is a very solid grade 3 set order. It does so much and you just have to wait a turn to proc it off. I have not been able to pull that off yet, typically because the opponent or I die beforehand, because maximizing the ever-living hell out of someone is just as fun as doing this. But if you do get to play it, free bop damage, rear guard murder, minus 10k, what's not like about it, easy 3 of. Then we have 3 copies of Mobile Fortress of Obliteration, Freischütz Maximum. The deck's win constants was released, and it's only gotten better as time has gone on. Grade 3 set order, after set order is played, it's, put into the order zone, continuous, you cannot play this card. So you have to play it by putting it into order zone by effects, such as Blitz Arms or Freiheit. These are the only 2 cards in the deck that can actually do that to the set orders. Thankfully, you will see both of them pretty consistently, and one of them is literally guaranteed, so there's that. Anyways, the Freischütz skill, operate auto order zone. When this card is operated, choose an opponent's rear guard, retire it, and then choose one of your opponent's vanguards, lose 5,000 power for the turn. And then if you want to, you can counter boss one and return a rear guard to your hand and call this card to a rear guard circle as a 23k powered 1 critical norm unit. It has to be to an open rear guard circle as stand, and at the end of the turn, if you call this card, put it to order zone. So all around pretty solid. It kills rear guards and loses the 5k for free, and then if you want to, you can counter boss one, bounce a rear guard and get another attack out of it. Typically what you do is you operate this a bunch of the main phase, but in this case you would operate this via Blitz Arms in the main phase and then attack with Torres, maybe Freiheit, and then swing with Vanguard, use the, or maybe you do use Freiheit skill here to, actually no, you wouldn't use Freiheit skill here unless you already have this set up, but then in this case you would then swing with the Vanguard to operate it again, kill another rear guard, bring them down more power, and then play the maximum. All around maximum is very solid. You can just keep spamming it to minus their power and kill the rear guards. Then if you have CB to spare, you can get more attacks out of it as well. And this deck consistently hits 3 attacks, and when your opponent's going to get constantly weaker after each attack, it's a pretty solid thing to have. So 3 of maximum, very solid, and this entire deck can go off while your opponent's at grade 2, which is even better, except for of course this card, but still, so it's just nice to have. So 3 of maximum, just good 4 attack, minus power, rear guard, murder pressure. Then we have our last card in the deck, 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the ride deck, of our amazing grade 3 CEO, who is a straight up upgrade over his OG self. Not even to say that the upgrade, or not even to say the OG was bad, because the OG was good since his entire skill was free, it was short, and it was simplistic. But this one now makes it so that the deck does not have to rely on rear guards, which is so helpful. And that is Fated One of the Guiding Star, Welstra Blitz Arms. So grade 3, 25% right, 13k base, auto Vanguard circle. When this unit attacks into a Vanguard by energy blasting 2, you can choose a product card from your order zone, operate, and this unit gets 10,000 power until end of that battle. So we go from having to energy blast 3 or 4 for Vanguard abilities to energy blasting 2, which is very important because that means every 2 turns you get 6 free energy, but you're only going to use 4 of them on Blitz Arms. By the way, if you haven't been paying attention, the only 2 cards in the deck that cost energy are Blitz Arms himself and Uber, and Uber is made free the turn after he's written, or the turn that he is placed. So Blitz pretty much is always going to be free because you will always have the energy to use it. Even if you take up 7 of that energy to draw 1 from the energy generator skill, you will probably always be able to use that energy boss 2 skill, which is pretty helpful. Anyways, being able to operate a product card in your order zone without having to cost CB or Soul Blast is great. And on top of that, he makes himself a 23k swinger for that battle, which is even better because again, it can proc off this one to get rear guard murders 5k, possibly 4 attacks. It can proc off this one to get of minus 10k, rearguard, murder, and possibly bop damage like it did in the anime. You can use it to draw a card if you really needed to during the main phase. And of course, you have Iron Garden over here, which is pretty solid. And then the other skill is Divine Skill, Active Vanguard Circle, the part that I think makes this card. Counterblast 1, choose up to 2 power cards from your hand with different cards from each other, put them into your order zone, and then if you put 2 cards, choose a power card from your order zone and operate it. You can only use Divine Skills once per fight. Now, while his Divine Skill is not broken, like Razio send everything back to deck or Unparalleled's Restand, this thing makes the difference. Because suddenly, you don't need to rely on Swartz to get maximum to order zone. You suddenly don't need to rely on Freiheit to get maximum to order zone. You don't have to rely on any other card to be pulled via RNG. Because, well, yes, even if you had 4 copies of that card, there was still a chance you wouldn't pull it in your hand. Yes, it happened less often than you would think it would, but it is a good chance that you wouldn't pull those cards. Now, that RNG is taken out because Blitz Arms is guaranteedly in your ride deck, meaning the second you get to grade 3, you can thanks to Uber, you can automatically search maximum and then automatically play maximum, meaning the only RNG that you have to worry about is losing maximum to damage checks. This card's amazing. It no longer requires you to rely on other cards to make the deck's gameplay happen. It only costs a CB to set the 2 orders and activate their skills. But on top of that, yes, it's a once per game, both of his skills work when the opponent's at grade 2. Meaning if you're going first, not only do you get to set up the energy advantage, I mean, granted, you draw even with them with your Orthanate's energy charge 3 in terms of energy advantage, but you get to operate a thing, get 10,000 power and possibly maximum them while they're at grade 2. But then on top of that, you get to activate 2. You have 3 orders now in your order zone. You got 1 from Stronzer, you get 1 from Stronzer, and then you get the 2 from Welstra, and then suddenly your opponent's at a disadvantage because you have board presence, and you have the entire game set up on your first grade 3 turn while they're at grade 2. It's just an amazing card. And the best part is if you want to save that skill for the turn that because you want to like normal set this and you want to save this skill to the turn you can activate this and operate it twice, that's cool. Because you could operate it twice that turn if you had these 2 skills active. 4 of Blitz Arms, 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the ride deck. It sets up the order zone. It does its job well. Like, this is how you do an upgrade. It literally does its job so well. This skill will almost always go off, and this skill instantly sets up the entirety of the deck's game plan on its own. 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the ride deck, which is a very good grade 3. And without further ado, that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, this deck is so fun to play. Like, it's just normal Welstra, but it's so much more consistent. You get orders out the wazoo consistently. You get 4 attacks consistently. Your opponent's constantly going down into the negatives, either when they're at grade 3 or before they even get to grade 3. You have 2 different order options for grade 3s that just beat the hell out of them, kill their rear guards, and, do numbers. This deck is very consistent with energy. It just does everything, and I love playing it. So I'm going to end this one here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, just on Twitch, and I'll see you all next one. Don't forget to set up your Vanguards.